What's up, Wargamers? Welcome back to World of Wargaming. I'm Isaiah, and today I invite you to grab a seat, a snack, and a beverage, and let me talk at you for a minute. And today I'd like to bend your ear about a little game called The Last War. Now, The Last War was, I think, the second game released in the Forbidden Psalm series of games. It is the last one that I have yet to play. I've played Forbidden Psalm, I've played Dread Knights, I've played Kill Sample Process. So The Last War is the last one for me. Not for any particular reason, it's just the one that I got to last for various reasons. So Last War uses the Morkborg system, which is like an open source system. It is a weird World War I setting. So you are in the trenches dealing with not only the enemy, but various supernatural and spoopy monsters. The book opens with creating your crew of scavengers, which we will talk about in a separate video, and goes through your special troopers, your special soldiers, which we have in all of the games, the stat lines, how your health and movement works. Your feats and flaws are back, still present. Our gear, and then we have our status effects. So pretty straightforward, follows the formula of all of the other Forbidden Psalm games. So I'm gonna try to skip over some of the stuff that is the same as the other games and focus a little bit more on some of the stuff that is different, which I don't think any of that's gonna affect any of the rules, but it will be mainly some of the monsters and stuff like that. And of course, it wouldn't be a Forbidden Psalm game without some magic, and it wouldn't be a weird war without some supernatural. So we have our various manuscripts in this game. They're referred to as Sanctified and Heathen, which I love. We have some service animals, which I feel might be new. I don't know that I remember having animals in the others, but I could be misremembering. Our game flow is going to be familiar. We pick our scenario, we set up our table, we deploy or determine our conditions, which is going to be weather, things like that. I'm not sure what those conditions are in this book. Deploy, and then determine who goes first, roll your initiative. In a round, you determine your initiative, you take it in turns, so I do a model, you do a model, then the monsters, if there are any, and then you end the game round. I normally play these games solo, so it's usually I do my activations, and then the monsters go. As per the usual, a 1 is a fumble, and a 20 is a critical. In all of the Forbidden Psalm games, you are rolling a d20 to do stuff, and then you use the other polyhedrals for your damage. Your target number is always base 12, unless otherwise stated, and the only thing that I can think of that states otherwise is the loot rolls. So you roll your d20, you add or subtract modifiers based on the stat required for the roll, and you're looking to beat a 12. Monsters also are always looking for a 12, but they are not modified by things usually. When you activate a model, you have a movement and an action. Your movement must come first. That is important to remember. I think I've messed that up a couple of times, but your movement has to come first. If you do another thing, you do not then get to go back and move. So important to remember that particular order of operations. Your other options are a ranged attack, a melee attack, use an equipment or a feat, use a manuscript, drag a downed model, interact with a loot or a scenario item, or make another move action. Your move is 5 plus or minus your agility stat. Also, just going to throw it out there real quick, it's the same as the other games, but remember that when you are in a melee, both parties swing simultaneously. Usually the defender is going to be at a disadvantage. There are some ways to negate that, and if it's a monster, they just outright ignore it. But everybody swings, so there's when you melee, you punch, but there's also a chance that you get punched back. As per the usual, when it comes to reading a manuscript, if you botch that up, you can accumulate calamities, which result in mostly bad, but usually a couple of good things on the chart happening to you. There are mutations that we can gain, just like in the other games. And then we have our orders, which are the same as our omens, our... can't remember what they're called in the other games, but the things that let us deal max damage, reroll a dice, those actions we still have. They just have different names. In this, they're called Bring It Down, Lucky, Medic, Close One, Resourceful, and Training. The AI is pretty basic. It's the same that we're used to. It will try to, if it can see a model that's not the same type as it will attack. If it cannot, then it'll, unless specified, will remain still and not activate. If it can see another one and it's not the same as itself, it'll move 2d6 towards it. If it's got a ranged attack, it'll move 1d6 and shoot. And if it's already within 12, unless it's already within 12 inches, in which case it does not move before making its ranged attack. If it can see more than a single model, it always goes to the closest. And if it is within an inch of a model that's not the same as it, it will attack. Then we get into some monsters. So first up is the Mud Ghoul, which is the ghost of someone who's died in the trenches, and they'll just emerge as a muddy, mucky ghoul, ghost, whatever you want to call them, zombie, whatever. We have trench maggots, which I'm not excited about because maggots super gross me out. Just ugh. We have a gas bug. I love the art in these books. It's just so dark and weird. This kind of reminds me of a bailiff. We have the trench rat. The haunted tank. This is one that I'm really excited. I don't know that if I'm gonna do an extensive kit bash for this or not, but if I do, I've already got some Stewarts, which are probably not. They're definitely not the right tank for this. I don't think they would have been existed, but it's a fantasy weird world, so maybe in my world they had the M1A1 Stewart in World War I. It's my story to tell. Or I might go find a more accurate tank to do some kit bashing to. We have a living gas cloud, which is going to be a really simple, really fun kit bash. I'm not going to spoil that, but I've got an idea for that I think is going to work really well. The Vlikolak, which is the werewolf for this game. I got some cool ideas for that one too. We've got the thing from the fog, which is like this big, gnarly War of the Worlds tripod looking thing. I'm not sure about that one yet. But I collabed with the Sprue Dude and Battle Map Bazaar, same guy, to get this game onto the table. He sent me a bunch of sprues to kit bash some stuff together, so I'm really excited to give that a go. I'm going to try my hand at making a kit bashing video or two. Please don't judge them too harshly in the beginning. I'm not used to making that kind of content, so I'm certain a lot for me to learn there, but we're gonna have a go at it. Next we have the Pathetic, which I don't know what I'm gonna do for that. I think the art for this one is from his daughter. I think she does. I think he uses a lot of her illustrations, which is amazing. That she's making weird stuff like this. That's just so awesome. And B, because it's cool to have the family incorporated into the passion project. I think that's amazing. The Ghosts of No Man's Land. So some ghosts, not the ghouls, not the mud ghouls, but some ghosts. The Loyals, which I think are just enemy humans that are serving these dark old gods or whatever. The Noxur. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Second, if you see this, you tell me if I'm saying that right, because I know that you know how to say that word. These are the vampires. I got some models already set, cool for that. We got the Angel of Morte, so the Angel of Death, and it's got this cool kind of biblical angel illustration, which is sick and terrifying. No need to really change a lot there. The angels are terrifying to behold. That's why they always say fear not when they show up. The Zealots of War, the Hounds of Anun, which are similar to the Coons of Anun, or the Coon, not the Coons of Anun, the Coon Anun, which is Welsh folklore, I want to say. And then the Barbed Wire Beast, which is one of the ones that I've seen the most kit bashes for, and I'm the most excited to have a go at. Then we have a chart for random hostiles. We have a really sweet map of the trenches and the front lines, and I'm not going to be doing any tinkering or skinning with this. So I'm gonna have some fun with this map, I think, and play around with that a little bit. And then right before our scenarios, we have our conditions, which there are only 8 conditions in this game, your weather conditions. And I think there were 12 in Dread Knights. Or maybe 10. I feel like there were more than 8. That's okay. This game is a little bit older, so it may have just not occurred to him those other things. Or I don't know. This one has 8, ranging from bad weather to artillery and things from the fog. So lots of fun stuff to ruin your day there. Then we have our scenarios, of which I believe there are 12. And usually there is a repeatable scenario a little bit further back. We have our campaign post-game stuff, which is death saves. If somebody dies, they got to take a DR6 toughness test. Injury charts, sell things, gain your XP, which we get 1 XP for a hostile killed, a loot collected, scenario with at least 1 surviving member. Models you down, which means player models, death saves passed, and crew members who died. I'm pretty sure that hostiles killed are monsters, and models you downed would be opposing players. So I usually don't get XP for those because, again, I generally play solo. I may try to recruit a friend to play this. We'll see what I can do. Then you can spend your XP, 5 XP to improve an ability, remove an injury, re-roll a flaw, gain a new feat, or bring somebody back from the dead with dark necromantic trench magic. You then get the option to hire some new crew members, spend 50 resources to purchase a bunker upgrade, or to reallocate equipment. I like that there's bunker upgrades. I like that there's a base that I get to add on to. We then have artifacts, 12 of them, the injury table, and then we have the tank manual. Okay, and then we arrive at what may be the coolest part of the book. This is something that is 100% unique to this particular Forbidden Psalm game, and that is that your crew of scavengers gets a freaking tank. And it's got parts, and you can give people jobs, and they can spend actions in the tank to do stuff, but you've got to have certain components and certain things to make sure you can do what you got to do. So the tank can hold the whole crew. It can hold 5 models. It's an action to get in the tank if you're within an inch of it, and then once you're in it, you have a job. So the driver can move the tank up to 6 or back 6 and pivot 90. You can have up to 3 gunners, and they have, 3 gunners, and there are 3 actions that they can take. They can fire a gun, they can reload a gun, they can unjam a gun. You can have 2 engineers. Engineers can do 2 things. They can repair a component, which is a presence test, or they can also unjam a gun. We then have tank components. When you get a new tank, you have an engine and 2 random components. So you can have armor, which increases its armor by 1. You can have tracks. You got to have a left and a right. If you only have 1, all you can do is turn. If you have none, then you just sit in place and cannot move. You can have small arms emplacements. You can have 2 of those, and it can be equipped with any gun from the weapon list. You have the main gun, which is a 6-pounder, and it requires separate ammo to fire. Then you have 6-pounder ammo. Tank can store up to 10 of them. And then you have the engine. which is required to turn, move forwards, or backwards. Spare parts can be kept for repairs or sold for 15 rec. The quartermaster sells all parts for 30 and tank ammo for 10. So if you're missing something and you got the money, you can buy it from the quartermaster. Tanks have 50 health points, and they can and will be targeted just like a regular model in terms of hostiles choosing who they're going to attack. When it hits 0, it blows up. Everybody inside of it has to take an agility test. If they fail, they take a D10 worth of damage and are placed next to the destroyed tank. On a pass, they're placed next to it, and on a fumble, they're killed in the explosion. A destroyed tank can be looted one time for a tank component that you're able to scavenge off of the husk of your former sweet ride. Damage and attack against tanks work like all other damage and attacks. You apply damage minus armor. If it's critically hit, you deal 0 damage, and instead one random component of the tank sheet is damaged. Parts can be repaired by the engineer during a scenario or replaced with new parts post-scenario. So firing the guns on a tank, it works the same as any other time you would fire or reload a gun. You just have to specify whether your gunner is going to be activating the small arms emplacements or the 6-pounder, and of course you have to have ammo for the 6-pounder in order to fire the 6-pounder. If you fumble on the 6-pounder, that damage is dealt to the tank, not to the gunner. 6-pounder deals 2d10 damage. Tanks can crush models. If they run into it, it deals 1d8 damage. Models that have a combined strength of at least 6 can push a tank. You just got to be within an inch of it, and it's pushed 2 inches when they do that. Scenarios will specify when you are allowed to use your tank. We then have the tank rosters, the crew rosters. It's good that these are in the book, but they're also available online. I want to say you can get them from the Exalted Funeral website. If not, just search The Last War or Forbidden Psalm The Last War PDF roster, and it should be one of the first hits. We then have the bunker, which has the upgrades of extra beds, allowing an additional member, but you can still only deploy 5. The kennel, which is a free service animal between scenarios. The field hospital, which allows you to remove injuries from a crew member. The chemist, which gives everybody a free grenade. The tank engineers, which gives you a random tank component between scenarios. Supply runs, which gives you 1 random weapon between scenarios. And Dr. West, which says that a crew member who was killed is returned to life with a new feat and flaw as follows. The feat is Serum, making you immune to morale, poison, and disease. The flaw is Uncontrollable Temperament, which is that if you ever fumble a roll, make a presence test. On a failure, you become hostile to all models on the table, including your fellow crew members. Instead of being player controlled, it now follows the hostile AI. Then we have the repeatable scenario, which in this is called Endless War. We have some mercenaries that you can recruit. One of them is definitely not squirrels in a coat. I am not a person. I am 3 possums in a coat. We have some secret special weapons of war, and then we have a quick reference. And then we have, I love that these are included in here, and there's never anything, in this one there is. Unfortunately, the quick reference is on the back. But you can photocopy, and I think these are also available as a PDF, but they include standees for all of the monsters. So that you can, if you don't want a kit bash or you don't want to paint the models, you can photocopy this, or if you were just an absolute sociopath, I suppose you could cut the pages out of the book. But it gives it to you for pretty much all of them, which is sweet. And then we have our credits and the Wall of Remembrance for all of our companions who will fall inevitably along the way. And that, my friends, is Forbidden Psalm The Last War. This is available at exaltedfuneral.com. It may also be on drive-thru. I'm not certain, but it's the print version is through Exalted Funeral, and I, whenever possible, always want the print version. I want to say it's $40. $40, and it's the style. It's the small size rule book, which I like. I have thoroughly enjoyed every one of the Forbidden Psalm games that I have played, so I am beyond certain that I'm also going to thoroughly enjoy this one. There is, however, a lot of work to be done to get this one ready. With the other games, especially the first Forbidden Psalm, like, I have mountains of fantasy models. I had a bunch of cyberpunk models. This, I don't really have anything for. Maybe one or two of the monsters I've got stuff, so I'm going to have to do a lot of work to get this ready. I'm also going to have to build some trenches. And like I said, I plan on bringing all of you wonderful, nerdy wargaming friends along for that ride. Until next time, that's going to do it for today. Thank you just so much for everything, for hanging out, for commenting, for subbing, for everything. Thank you for letting me talk at you for a minute. I love all of you, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of your day.